Having so much fun, I ran the battery dead in flight this time, and even though it's a 2100 milliamp battery, this thing will really only in the 3D mode fly about 6.5 minutes. That's it. I went over the limit. I had to do a very fast landing from a very low altitude coming out of a loop, and I had a pretty hard landing. Now what happens when you have a hard landing is you usually have a tail boom strike, and that's exactly what happened. And that means is when the helicopter comes down and hits the ground, the tail and the body stop, but the blades keep going down, and they go down to the point where they come down, and since the momentum is still spinning, they hit. And this one hit the side right here. Not bad. A severe crash will completely bend this tail boom in two, but mine didn't. It just broke this plastic right here on the blade holder grip and this part. Nothing else seems to be bad. It bent the feathering shaft. It broke a tooth out of the gear. I'm going to replace that with one of my new Hitec S55 feather servos. I'm going to put that in. And I broke a landing gear strut and a small crack in the canopy. But this is all going to be fixed pretty easy. I've got the parts already here. I got them in town yesterday. The grand total of the parts, which gives me 2 of everything, only broke 1, was only $19.95. And you've got to hold this while you unscrew this one on this side. The bolt and nut and washers and everything are going to have to be used, so we have to take this out of here. Always keep your parts in a little parts tray so you can keep track of what's going on. Now, the one side, it has 4 tiny washers in there, the rubber grommet and the bolt. So make sure that you use all these parts and put it back together the same exact way. You're going to have some troubles. Pretty bent. And very difficult to ever try and get it straightened by hand, so it doesn't hurt to have these feathering spindles on hand at all times. Okay, we got to get these bearings out of the old part, and the easiest way is just kind of pry them up like this. That goes on first. Then out comes a washer and a bearing right there. Then your final bearing, which we can pull out like this, being careful. Okay, putting the bolt, the tiny washer, thrust washer, bearing, and bearing, the next thing left is to make sure you have your shims in. Now this very first washer closest to the blade holder here is a stepped washer. That means it has a little ledge on it. That ledge needs to be pushed against the bearing, always against the bearing. So that would be the first to go on up against that. On my case, I had 4 washers here. They're very thin. It could look like 2, and there may be 3 or 4. It could be 2, 3, or 4. It is depending on the precision building. They get pushed up here like this, then goes on the rubber grommet, which goes into the head. And when this is all done, this just slides together like that. Make sure when you put the grips on that the screw that goes in here is the side you screw down. You don't want that side with the nut on there, like this. Okay, I've replaced the servo with the bad gear with a Hitec HS 55 feather servo. And it has composite gears, is a very good servo. Also, here's the problem here. The arm that was on here, the stock arm, does not fit. So I removed it, drilled another hole in between the holes on the Hitec servo, and screwed and used amazing goop on the back of the screw just to make sure. Also, I got a little bit of a crack in my fuselage in the front here. All I've done to fix that is I took some of my amazing goop and I put a drop on the inside of the canopy down in there. Here's what we've done so far. We've repaired the plastic canopy. We replaced the feathering shaft and the broken blade holder grip. We have replaced the servo that had the broken gear, the servo arm. We've replaced the strut, and we've replaced the broken landing gear. So all we need to do now is put the blades back on it and go fly. First thing you want to do is make sure that the blades are tracking correctly. So the way I do that is I have one blade marked red and one blade marked black, so I can see which one is the high blade and which one is not. Alright, they're tracking perfectly. If they're not tracking perfectly, it'll vibrate. Let's go ahead and pick it up and see how it does. Let's throw on the throttle. This time, I'm going to set the timer. All you do to set the timer is pull the trainer switch once, like that, and that turns on the timer. Okay, folks, today we've repaired the blade holder, so let's go ahead and give it a little test fly and see how it does. Here we go. Here comes the roll. Another loop. Here we go. Feels good to me.